So, as we've seen here today, everyone's journey is very different, right? My journey has been kind of weird and interesting. I've been an advocate, I've been a writer, a student, educator, a researcher, and most importantly to me, a scientist. But my passion for my field in biology really comes down to two key areas: understanding biology and helping others to understand it. Now, as you may have noticed and are noticing, my situation is a little bit different than the other presenters up here. I'm walking with a cane, I'm sitting down, I have some little braces on my knees. The reason for that is complicated, but it really comes down to having some of those genetic conditions we heard about earlier. These are conditions that affect the way my brain works, the way my body works, the way I move and think and feel and operate. But just because I have these disabilities, it shouldn't prevent me from pursuing the things that I'm passionate about. And I'm definitely not the only disabled scientist. You may recognize a couple of people up on this board, like Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking, right? These are all people who have made incredible advancements that have changed the world for the better. Things that would have made the world a very different place if these people hadn't made the discoveries that they did. But we have a little bit of an inclusion problem in STEM. Even in biology, it can be really hard to keep diverse researchers around, which is very strange to me considering that the word biodiversity has the word diversity in the name. I mean, especially in biology, some of the research advancements we have wouldn't have existed without inclusion. In behavioral biology, which is what I study, mating systems were very biased when the way that they were studied until women entered the field. But there are a lot of barriers to access for all marginalized groups. For disabled people, while 27% of the public has some sort of disability, less than 5% of scientists under the age of 40 identify as having one. Less than 10% of scientists over the age of 40 identify as having one. And part of this is also a salary issue. Postdocs don't really get paid a lot, and sometimes it can drive you out of the field. When you're a young disabled person in higher education and other institutions that study STEM issues, you're pretty severely underpaid and underrepresented. And if you think grants are going to help, I wouldn't be so sure. Between 2008 and 2018, less than 2% of grant awardees from the National Institute of Health had a disability, and that number went down over those 10 years. But I think that part of the issue that we're having here is a misunderstanding about what disability means and ways to accommodate it. I break down my own disabilities into two categories. Category one is more static, disabilities with pretty standard everyday limitations and needs. Everybody has limitations and needs, right? Category two is a little more dynamic. It requires a little more flexibility because it might vary from day to day or moment to moment. But the accommodations can be pretty easy, pretty standard, and really don't require that much effort necessarily. Now, as a biologist, I have to go out into the field sometimes. And before I knew I had all of these kind of different things I was dealing with, it made it a lot harder to do what I wanted to do. So, after I graduated college back in 2021, I went to do an internship in Peru. But because there was a lack of awareness, both on my side and on everyone else's side, it made it more challenging to be there. And it even led me to changing my own path, my own direction. Because if I couldn't get support out in the field, that could be dangerous, right? And I didn't even know that back then. But some of the things that would have helped me out there were pretty standard and predictable supports. Things like physical needs. I mean, a simple weight restriction probably would have helped me back then. Technological support, extended testing time, clear breakdowns of assignment. These are all things that really don't require that much effort. And I would know. I taught high school students. I taught a lot of high school students with special education needs, accommodation. Now, I didn't quite give up because that's not the kind of person that I am. So when I joined Project Dragonfly, my first trip was to Baja to do research in the field. And I ended up actually getting the accommodations that I needed. I had that institutional support, social support, public support, support of my peers, my group leaders, my professors, and it completely changed the way that my trip went. Because I had a little more accommodation, I was able to have a really great time. I was able to be successful, and I got really excited about continuing that journey. My work with Project Dragonfly has focused a lot on accessibility and adaptability in biology, in communication, education, research. Because I was able to get that same accommodation and support and flexibility from my institution and from my project, I was able to do the work that I wanted to do. I was able to continue doing the work that I wanted to do. And it doesn't require much. A little more flexibility in scheduling, an alternative assignment here and there. I don't want to use my accommodations. I work really hard not. But even though there are some organizations working to do some of this inclusive research, there's a long way to go. We really need support at all levels, institutional, public, health. If we want to make sure that people with disabilities are able to do the work that we want to do and be those life-changing figures that we have up there on that second slide, then we have to do it. We are all responsible for doing it. I'm starting my PhD in the fall, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm not going to be able to do that without support from everyone, because I can handle my own needs. I can handle my symptoms. I can handle my disabilities. I've gotten really good at it. But without that awareness and support and understanding from the people around me, it makes it that much harder to do what I want to do. And besides, if we want to find more Stephen Hawkings, more Albert Einstein, then we really have to work together to make it. Thank you so much.